Essentially, one of the biggest gifts you can give yourself and give your partner is to stop wishing your body would do what it used to and instead accept and discover how it works now and leverage that to your benefit. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Sex After Kids podcast. I'm so excited to tell you about how Color Me Curious went. We had so much fun on Valentine's Day, and I want to tell you just a little mini version of some of the things that I taught there that were really big eye openers and kind of reminders for me as I was putting the workshop together. So, if you're watching, right, you've probably noticed that the sexual manual that you were given in your 20s, the already shitty one that relied on high energy and spontaneous desire and loads of free time with a body that responded instantly, doesn't really seem to be working for the life that you are living right now. And maybe you just feel touched out by 7 p.m. Maybe your skin feels like it doesn't belong to you anymore. Maybe you're moving into perimenopause and you're navigating the big three: vaginal dryness, thinning tissue, and a libido that feels like it has gone into witness protection. Or you are a partner navigating this with your vulva owning partner. Then I want to invite you to listen to what we're going to talk about today, which is pleasure mapping and kind of some of the key principles of pleasure mapping and what it is. Because in the workshop, we talked about the silence or snark cycle and about how either nobody talks about sex because it's too awkward, or it only comes up when someone is frustrated or feeling hurt or rejected. And like I say all the time, the truth is that your body is not broken, it's just changing. And the number one thing that most couples miss isn't the spark, it's actually an updated education for this specific season of life. I think of it as like going to the bedroom and fumbling around in the dark and not knowing what buttons to press anymore. And pleasure mapping is a process that gives you a way back to knowing what feels good so that sex doesn't feel like a performance review anymore. It actually feels like something yummy and fun and easy. So I want you to imagine with me a regular Tuesday night. Maybe the kids have actually gone to bed early. Maybe work wasn't so stressful today and you have some free time, and maybe not like a raging libido, but an openness to a yes, right? Somebody goes in to initiate, and that person is usually kind of tentative. They're worried they're going to get a no, or they're worried that if they do get a yes, it's just going to be the same old routine. There's going to be so many places they can't touch or they can't go, and it's not going to feel very fun. But the other person on the other side is probably worrying that their body isn't going to show up today. They know they're like not in the mood right now, but they're like, maybe if we go for it, things will show up. But they also feel like things haven't been great lately because they don't know how to give feedback. And bigger than that, they don't even actually know what to say about what they want. They don't know. So ordinarily, you would try to go for what I call a go for gold date, the kind of date where we're reaching for mind-blowing orgasms and pleasing everyone. There's sort of this expectation that things are going to be amazing. Or you can try a different approach, which is what I call a data date in the form of pleasure mapping. So what is pleasure mapping? Pleasure mapping is just literally the process of learning together how and where your body experiences pleasure. It can be sexual or non-sexual touch. It can involve genitals or any body part. The goal is literally intentional experimentation time together. The focus is not orgasm. The focus is curiosity. We're going to gather data, and then we're going to bring that data into our Go for Gold dates. So we dove deep into this, into the Color Me Curious workshop. You can always grab it. The links are in the show notes. And we talked about 5 principles for pleasure mapping. I'm going to talk about 3 on the show here today. Principle number 1, which I've already nodded to, is that some dates are for gold and some dates are for data. So in the workshop, I was really trying to reiterate to everybody that we want to get into scientist mode. Sometimes, not all the times. This matters because when we're in perimenopause, when we are postpartum, when our hormones are fluctuating, our body is predictable. One day you're lubricated and ready, the next you're dry, exhausted, and your pelvic floor feels tight and things hurt. So if every sexual encounter has to be a gold date, the orgasm date, you will eventually start avoiding sex because you're not getting the gold medal. You're not even getting the bronze medal, right? I want to comment. I want a little thumbs up below if you're like, yeah, we're getting bronze medal dates or less. So when we instead incorporate a pleasure mapping date, a date is a date that you can't fail because it's a date where we're just simply collecting information. It takes the shame out of physical changes. It lets you stay connected even when the engine is taking a little while to start. Essentially, one of the biggest gifts you can give yourself and give your partner in this phase of changing bodies, and that's for penis owners too, is to stop wishing your body would do what it used to and instead accept and discover how it works now and leverage that to your benefit. So when we have a data night, success is just, did we learn something new about our bodies? It's not, did we have mind-blowing orgasms? And maybe that success is, we discovered that was not good for us. Or maybe success is, ooh, that was really interesting. Let's try that next time. Okay, so some dates are for gold, some dates are for data. Principle 2 is that touch is not one note, okay? Most of us have very standard issue moves. We touch our partners the same way every time. We touch ourselves the same way every time during self-pleasure. And again, when our bodies are changing a lot and when our nervous system is more sensitive, when vaginal tissues are thinning or scarred from postpartum, when we're breastfeeding, or when breasts have this new association of providing food to babies and not being toy things, then there ends up being a lot more nervous system sensitivity. And so what I mean by touch not being one note is that I want you to explore with 3 kind of dials on your pleasure mapping date. You can play with speed. You can play with kind of touch, so like tickles or long strokes, and you can play with pressure, firm or feather light. And so the idea is that we don't want to just go with our standard go-tos. We want to open ourselves. And like one of the principles or one of the tools that I used to teach more often as a Tantra coach is something called orgasmic awareness practice. And I would often be coaching people to basically tickle their clitoris with a feather light, very fast touch. And the number of people who told me they had never touched their clitoris that way ever before, including myself before I was introduced to it by my coach, Davey Ward, is huge. So allowing yourself a broader menu and getting more deliberate about that menu is really a big deal. And it offers such potential for discovering new things. Last principle I'm going to talk about today is principle number 3. Don't take the cake out of the oven too fast. We've talked about a little bit about this in the last couple of weeks. And this is, again, one of the biggest mistakes that I see, right? During perimenopause, during postpartum, the body just needs more time to find the arousal, the blood flow, the muscles relaxing and opening. And so many of us get into bed and within 30 seconds, we're telling ourselves, I'm not wet yet. I'm not relaxed yet. I'm not ready yet. Clearly this isn't working. So we need to stop doing that to ourselves. And that's about brain gremlins. That's another principle. And I give you all kinds of tools in Color Me Curious for managing your brain gremlins. But what I want you to explore when you're pleasure mapping is how different parts of your body feel after different amounts of time of sensation. So for example, a lot of women or a lot of vulva owners, when they are looking for their G-spot for the first time, they want to gush, they want to ejaculate, they want to feel this full body release. And they're like, let's go looking for my G-spot. And they go looking for the G-spot and they feel like they don't feel anything. They're like, it's numb. There's no sensation down there. Clearly it's broken. Clearly it doesn't work. Maybe it doesn't work for me. Maybe they find a lot of irritation there. I call that feeling like construction man hands. Even if you've got the smoothest silicone toy and tons of lube, it still feels really irritated. Or it can feel painful. It can feel tender, especially this is true when we go deeper back towards like the cervix, the A spot, the P spot. So a lot of us will write that off. It's instantly uncomfortable or instantly numb. So no way. But I invite you to stay open to what if you gently stimulate that place, find You don't want to like stay in an area of massive discomfort. But if you're like at a 1 or a 2 in terms of discomfort, so low discomfort, but not amazing pleasure, what happens if you stimulate that area for 5 minutes, for 10 minutes, for 15 minutes? What happens if you stimulate it for a little while, leave, make other places happy, and then come back? You might discover that what felt numb now actually has some sensation to it, or that what felt irritated has shifted to pain or has shifted to numbness. There's a movement of sensation. Now, this is a topic for a whole other time. This is around somatic sexual healing, but the point being that you can't touch any particular body part and give it 2.5 seconds to become fully engorged and fully erect and fully ready to go and expect it to feel good. And playing with the amount of time that you play with things is going to give you, again, new information about what your body needs. Oh, my G-spot feels way better after I've had a clitoral orgasm or after we've stimulated and just like rubbed my labia for a while. Okay. So this is a big deal. These are the first 3 pleasure mapping principles. So data dates and go for gold dates. Touch is not one note, and not taking the cake out of the oven too soon. If you want the other 2 and a walkthrough of the actual process of pleasure mapping, then I want you to grab Color Me Curious. I go through all of the details there. When you stop rushing the timeline, you stop the cycle of failing at sex before your body has even had a chance to wake up. So imagine with me, we go back in time to our scenario, right? It's Tuesday night, the kids are in bed, maybe there's a spark, or maybe there's just a desire to connect. And instead of going for a go for gold date, you suggest a pleasure mapping date instead. You choose 2 or 3 parts of the body, whether they're genital parts or otherwise, and you choose whether to do both of you. So like 10 minutes each, or just one person tonight gets to receive, and you aim to learn something new. You set your timer, you experiment with playing with those parts, you experiment with speed, variety, and touch. You get curious about the amount of time that you're playing for, and you aim for learning something new. That means that the next time you go for gold, it is way easier to say, remember the way that you stroked my clit on our pleasure mapping date? Or can you put that slow pressure on my perineum again, like we did the other night? Now we know what works together. Now we have specific words to share with our partner. Now we can actually go for gold instead of rolling around in frustration. Now, a couple of other really fun things that we talked about at Color Me Curious. We had a really great conversation about expanding the menu, and in particular for people who've grown up socialized as men, because it is possible for men to be what we call multi-orgasmic, which means for them to be able to have an orgasm without ejaculation. But also, I said in the workshop that a lot of men get cut off from their sensuality. So they, even more so than women and vulva owners, are told that their pleasure is very one note. There's like one straight line to an orgasm. And they get robbed of their sensuality, which is like having a way more heart and body centered approach to sex, which when you can get over your own mindset and BS and homophobia and whatever else you have, and I don't even mean exploring anal here necessarily, I just mean like exploring and loving and caressing your own body will give you way more variety of sensation and experience. Penis owners are absolutely capable of, explosive ejaculatory orgasms and soft, rolling, sensual, small orgasms. So this matters because for couples navigating midlife, penis owners' bodies change too. Things don't stay as hard as they used to. And so expanding the repertoire of play for both of you is really important. And I would say the same if intercourse becomes off the table for your partner with a vagina. Outer course, exploring with orgasms that can come from non-sexual parts of your body, like the neck or the ears or the lower belly, I was just learning is like hugely innervated and really sensitive. This is going to make it so that we have naked playtime, my friends, that is fun, that is easy, that is sensual, that is exciting, that meets us where we are at today instead of us trying to chase some movie or porn scene that we're looking at. This all comes down to allowing yourself data dates mixed in with your goal dates. And if you're really struggling, you might give yourselves permission to have a series of data dates to just really get in there and figure out what's working before you try going for gold again. There were so many ahas and wins in the workshop. I loved this comment from one couple who shared that we really enjoyed learning and getting more tips. Definitely recommend this for your neurodiverse clients. We loved the info and the scripts and how to talk about things and the somatic stuff. So we talked a little bit about somatics, which I should really do a whole episode on. Just comment somatics below or send me a note on IG if you want to learn more about somatic sexual healing. This testimony as well, my husband and I both learned about spongy parts we can explore that we didn't know we had. Probably the best tip we got was to distinguish at the start whether we're having a gold date or a data date, plus the importance of communication and how to do it. We had so much fun. I hope you will consider joining us in the replay. You can still get all of my pre-date bonuses, and you just want to grab it all in the show notes. Last but not least, being in this workshop reminded me how much I love teaching this stuff. And I mean like the sex part of the sex stuff. We talk so much about initiation and sort of getting to the bedroom. I got to like draw penises for this workshop, and I was doing my research on the G-spot again and just reminding myself the importance. Like, my number one fucking job is to give you an inch more permission to talk about this with your friends. I want you to be answering the questions you are whispering to Google at night, okay? So I need your help, which is that I'd love for you to drop a comment below and let me know which kind of topics you want to talk about, because I'd love to go into talking about multi-orgasmic potential. So do you want to know the science of how to expand pleasure for penis owners? I'm also a certified Tantra coach. Do you want to know what Tantra is and how to blend it into your intimacy to create more pleasure? Do you want to know about somatic sexual healing, which really has been the game changer for me? And if you want a sense of that, just go to my YouTube playlist and listen to anything that's on the Bedroom Dispatches playlist. I'd love for your comments. I'd love for your feedback. What else do you want to hear about? I read every single comment, and it helps me build this channel for you. And of course, last reminder, if you are listening to this and going, this is us, bodies are changing, we don't know how to communicate anymore, then you want to grab Color Me Curious. It's only $27. It's a 90-minute date night that you do together. We go deep into the pleasure mapping principles. I give you a refresher on anatomy and what to explore. And we walk through my 5 principles of sexual communication, and I guide you through a mini activity to practice those skills and just get a little bit better at sharing what you need without feeling like an asshole. Grab it all in the show notes. DM me if you have questions, and we will see you next week.